In this video, we'll be discussing vision correction. Now, vision correction using glasses or contact lenses is a way of amending the problems of nearsightedness or myopia on the one hand, or farsightedness, hyperopia, on the other, both of which are effects that have to do with the lens and the cornea system of the eye being either too strong, focusing the light too abruptly for myopia, or as we'll see, too weak, focusing the light too distantly for farsightedness, hyperopia. So myopia is by far the more common of the two vision impairments. Let's consider what happens. So light that comes in from a distant object, and light coming from a distant object that will tend to have basically parallel rays because you don't see the curvature anymore. If two rays are coming to you from like a distant building or the mountains far off in the distance, you're not going to be able to really see that one is coming at an angle relative to the other because they're so far away. Now this light from the distant object comes in through the lensing system of the eye, which is the cornea and the crystal and lens inside, and it focuses to a point, but that point is too close to the lensing system. It hasn't gotten all the way back to the retina yet, and so then it therefore goes back out of focus before it reaches the retina. And thus, the image that is seen by the nearsighted person without the corrective lens, whether it's glasses or contact lenses, is out of focus. The solution to this is to put in a diverging lens, which causes the light that comes in parallel to diverge, that is, bend outward. And thus, when it is bent again by the eye's lensing system, it bends inward such that it can come into focus exactly at the distance of the retina, and thus what is seen is an image that is in focus. So you need diverging lenses if you are nearsighted to correct that problem. Now, if you know your prescription, if you are a wearer of glasses or contacts and you know your prescription is measured in a unit called diopters, which is simply 1 over meters. It's 1 over the focal length, where the focal length is measured in meters. So, for example, if you have a prescription as a nearsighted person of -5, that -5 refers to the value of 1 over f in meters. So the focal length would be equal to 1 over 5, or f would be equal to 20 centimeters, and it would be negative because you're wearing a diverging lens if you're nearsighted. So suppose your glasses have a power of -7 diopters. Where do your glasses form an image of a distant object? So to begin with, let's consider the lens equation. 1 over O plus 1 over I equals 1 would be equal to 1 over 5, or f would be equal to 20 centimeters, and it would be negative because you're wearing a diverging lens if you're nearsighted. So or f would be equal to -5 refers to the value of one prescription as a nearsighted person of -5, that -5 refers to the value of 1 over f in meters. So the focal length would be equal to 1 over 5, or f would be equal to 20 centimeters, and it would be negative because you're wearing a diverging lens if you're nearsighted. So suppose your glasses have a power of -7 diopters. Where do your glasses form an image of a distant object? So to begin with, let's consider the lens equation. 1 over O plus 1 over I equals 1 over f. And if you focus on this statement of the distant object, it's a pretty common simplification in this sort of optics problems. A distant object, like for example, I go out and I'm looking at the mountains many kilometers away. Well, many kilometers in terms of its relation to distances of a few centimeters or meters is so far that O is so large that 1 over O is effectively 0. So distant object is a way of saying basically ignore the 1 over O term, because O is so big that that fraction basically doesn't affect the values of I or f. So if we have that as the case, then the result is, of course, that I is going to equal f. If we want to know what f is, we have to say that f will be equal to 1 over the power, from just inverting the power equation, which in this particular case is 1 over -7. While 1/7 is somewhere between a 1/5, which would be 0.2, and 1/10, which would be 0.1, let's say it's about -0.14. You could say 0.15, that would be fine, without loss of generality. It's a little closer to 4. 0.14. The point is simply to put it between those two values that you can estimate more quickly. So then the focal length is going to be about negative. This is in meters, because diopters is inverse meters. It's going to be about -14 centimeters. Well, if that's the focal length, then I is also equal to -14 centimeters. Because they have the same value. The negative sign means that the image is on the same side of the lens as the object, and is 14 centimeters from the lens. So if you go out with your -7 diopter glasses, and you look at the distant building, the image that you're actually focusing on is floating 14 centimeters in front of your face. Well, 14 centimeters in front of your glasses, let's say. And it's an upright image because I is negative, therefore magnification would be positive. It's a much smaller image than the object, because I is clearly a lot smaller than O if we said that O was so large that we can estimate 1 over O as 0. So that's what you're focusing on. Basically, your eyes are able to focus if you're nearsighted on an image that's that close to your face. You have no problem with near objects. It's distant objects that you have. You have no problem with near objects. It's distant O as 0. So that's
Don't think he cares for Shani or anybody. Yeah, extract the out his body. With this pure computer setup. I'll be pension. What is the water? Children are settled.
It's what you're focusing on. Basically, your eyes are able to focus if you're nearsighted on an image that's that close to your face. You have no problem with near objects. It's distant objects that you have a problem with. It's that your eye focus on that, and that's why it seems clear. You also floating 15 centimeters from little buildings right in front of your face are the same as big buildings really far away. You use your knowledge of spatial orientation and the actual sizes of things to fix any problem you would have by seeing the image, rather than the actual object. Now, hyperopia, the other problem that can happen with vision, the less common problem, but the one that all people get to some extent as they age, hence the need for reading glasses as you get older, is farsightedness. And that basically means that light comes in from close-up objects is focused insufficiently,
Yeah, I know.
so that it comes into focus behind the retina. Now this picture is a little bit misleading. It's done for simple simplification, because the problem isn't really with parallel rays, because those would more or less come into focus by the time they get to the retina, but with rays that are coming in at an angle from something closer, where you have to bend them even more to get them to focus at the retina. And that's what the far-sighted eye is unable to do. But it's enough to basically get the idea that to correct this, we need what kind of lens? A converging lens, positive power that adds to the power of the eye's lens system. One nice thing about lens power is these diopter units is that if you have two lenses of two given powers, the combination of those lenses, if you take two pairs of glasses and you sort of push them together, and you know their prescription and diopters, the power of diopters, you can simply add those numbers together. And the result is the power of that combination. And so that's what we're seeing here. If you were to add another positive value to this, you would increase the power of the eye's lensing system enough that the light would then be able to come into focus at the shorter required distance. So in summation, myopia results when the focus is light too much.
Decide कैसे हाँ मतलब wipe your hands before you touch anything. Wipe your hands before you touch cupboard and all that. Wipe it. Did you decide how you want to make a face? So Sandeep electric job. Mm. Mm.
I didn't even comb my hair. I just threw on my jeans and I left. I forgot everything. So I didn't think. So
I think it's weird to do that.
yeah, very dear.
Very weird.
It would work.
Don't do that. I don't like it.
Very good. I'm not even comfortable.
Mm.
See, sharing the gospel is fine. One thing. Sharing
It's
the
a Bible.
sharing the gospel is one thing. But to the right letter and all. know, setting direction for all the teams and all. That felt like such a normal, things are so normal.
That's okay. It's totally fine.
Then like, it doesn't look like something is coming down. That's what I mean. But so he's even heated. You just have to remember. You have to try to remember what I said. Correct?
Then there'll be so many witnesses. Revelation on the side seems alive, and he'll still found there. You know that? In Green Gospel, angels. In each number, each bowl here, there will be angels ministering.
The Holy Spirit.
What do you mean, Holy Spirit? There will be the gospel.
Okay.
No one will miss it.
That's what I do.
Only a page.
Okay? Okay?
In the mid rapture కూడా ఉంది కదా heaven లో అంత స్టాప్ అయిపోతారు అంత వద్దునా హాఫ్ no
Honey, you will eat it.
no. I don't need that. Yeah, I need it if you give it.
Enjoy it. Chicos, what they? Okay.
Everybody knows that's a thing that we covered yesterday, right? No.
But I never for anybody did. Because I know. You don't know.
Huh?
I never said because I always say it's true and it can happen. It can happen in fun. But I never give this. But however, between you and me, I never got the case.
It's okay, it doesn't have to be this week.
That we can do. We'll understand the full property later.
But we own that actually, I also know. I'm not explaining.
Makes sense.
And it's follow. Look at every wall, everything that we are happening. And the knowledge, right?
But
The political, the world stage.
it must, it will happen in pieces.
It doesn't matter, if not this year, next year. But it will be in our lifetime, that's good enough, right? So.
You have to. Yeah, because it's finished, I was finished.
Yeah. Take off with the star. Can you want it?
No, I'm good.
Wait, there's some chocolate in it.
Yeah, chocolate is good. Paprika. The quick sound boy, can you put it in this
There you go.
pastillo.
I wash my hands. I don't like it. Just take care of this.
Heart, heart. He's a king's heart, Mr. Chico. Duffy will play harp in the first chair.
First chair.
King's heart is ఉంటాడు ఇంకా చైర్స్ విన్నాము ఇంటర్నెట్లో పెట్టేసి
He's the first chair because nobody wants to play with him. He's first chair because nobody wants to play with him.
Because he's the lead singer, so that's why he has long arms. Yeah. Testing ఇవాళ
Next few days are busy.
Oh, baby. Are you coming home on Friday evening?
No.
What time will you be back?
Probably like 9.
They all will be there at 9. They'll only come at they only come at 8 o'clock. But they'll be fun.
What?
Even for my birthday, this cake, okay?
Yeah.
A blueberry cheese.
Oh, cheese.
Good Friday in the house. Should I make a mango jelly cake or carrot cake?
Jelly.
But I don't know mangoes. I have to figure that out. Carrot is easy.
Carrot is yummy. You make it with cream cheese and nuts.
We
Yeah.
have so many carrots in the house. I
Okay.
think let's just go with carrot.
Okay. I like carrot cake. Actually, more than
And walnuts. Carrots and walnuts or carrots and the peanuts?
walnut chip. Today, probably 7 or 8. Yeah. Go to school. Bye.